Hi everyone. Um, so today this show we've been planning to do it for some days now, and this was about closures in relationships in life because
Please tell us who you are.
one sec,
We
one sec.
are from mostly.
Okay, so there is a lot of people that have passed on in the last 2 years. Other than that, these last 2 years have affected relationships in a big way. And there is this big thing that people have got in their minds now that to end a relationship completely, they need a closure. पुराने ज़माने में तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता था. क्लोजर वोजर हो गया खत्म तो हो गया. But nowadays, yeah, psychologists have put it in their mind to some extent. Sometimes I yes, I agree, sometimes you do need a closure. And even with people who pass away, sometimes there are accidents, there are deaths, or the way they've been in the last 2 years, there are natural calamities where things were sudden and unexpected. And Ritesh and Ritz, that is Ritesh and me, decided, have been thinking and talking about this show on closures for months now. If you remember, a few months back, I did a show with Aaron about moving on from people, about depression, and about all these things. Um, one I did with Aaron, and I think, if I'm not wrong, there was one with Bhairavi about people when they pass away. So, about getting in touch with those spirits. Again, that is another form of closure. Now, the closure is all in the mind. Yes, there are times when you think you need it, but if you decide to move on, unless there are some questions left in your mind. Now, this lunar eclipse, what is the reason we are actually doing it now after talking about it for so many months? I'm still waiting for Ritesh to come. He was supposed to be here at 4 o'clock, and it's 5:10 as usual. He's late. So, why we decided to do it now is because if you remember when I did a tarot session on in April about Rahu Ketu moving into Aries and Libra. I had mentioned in my 2022 numerology analysis, which I did last December, and when I did my analysis in April, about April onwards, and about the shift of Rahu Ketu shifting into Aries and Libra is going to affect relationships worldwide. वो मंत्र बंद करना. So, a lot of people, after suddenly, now, when you stay in house, work from home, or you're stuck at home in a lockdown, even 2 days, if a person has to stay home who's not used to it, that person can go crazy. Uh, and when you've stayed inside the house for months and months together, you get used to it. People have got onto each other's nerves, relationships have gone bad, and now suddenly you're out there in the open. So it's taken a toll on relationships. The family structure is crumbling. Everybody is wanting their own space. And when it comes to relationships of lovers, of husband and wife, of spouse, of girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, obviously it has affected that as well. So, and with the social media today, everybody and the apps, all kinds, and the way the internet has exposed everybody to the world, and made it a little smaller. Everybody has a lot of choice. In the name of modernism, a lot of things are happening: extramarital affairs, open relationships, transgender, bisexual, lot of things that have opened up, or it, I don't know if they were there thousands of years back, but they've suddenly opened up more in these last couple of decades, and they have been accepted. Uh, no doubt, India is an ace at aping the West. Unfortunately, I don't know why. After being under slavery of the British for so many centuries, yeah, 200 years, and they did not learn from the Mughals to keep their women safe, but they learned from the British to put their women out there, which is quite surprising. So I guess it's all about convenience, or maybe the British just wiped out the memory that Mughals had, the imprint that Mughals had left on the minds. So, what this Rahu and Ketu, coming back to that, are doing are just ruining relationships, more so because Ketu is in Libra. Now, of course, there is, okay, private. Why would it be private? Okay, one sec. No wonder. I can see. Why can't I see comments? One second. What do you mean private videos? Uh, um, what is happening? Something is happening here. It's public. Okay.
T-shirt basic है. Holiday dates नहीं है. Watch Happy birthday, sir. Sweet 16 इसलिए 66 roses. रोज आपके इमोशंस गिफ्ट रैप करते हैं. FNP इमोशंस गिफ्ट रैप. डाउनलोड द ऐप.
Uh, it's weird. I am unable to post a comment. I don't know why. Can you all hear me or see me? Uh, that's weird. Okay, so I am trying to post a comment. It says YouTube doesn't support comments on private videos. I don't know when this became private. Uh, I did not make it private, and you can see it. That's very weird. Okay, so here is the link. In case anybody wants to. Why is it happening like this? Unless YouTube has banned me or something like that for the last video that I did, I am unable to post a comment. That's really weird. Banners. Okay. Uh, okay, never mind. So I don't know where it says private video because this is not private. This is a public video having issues. Mercury retrograde. How could I forget? Yes, I'm having issues. So I posted that link so that सुन रहा है दिख भी रहा है comment no, this comment I posted here because I opened YouTube in a new window, but there on StreamYard, surprisingly, I am not able to what is this now, something new. I'm not able to post a comment because it says YouTube doesn't support comments on private videos. Okay, let me just go back, just hold on. Still unable. Okay, anyway, so since you can hear me and you can see me, it doesn't matter. Uh, so this is weird. Okay, so in case y'all have any questions or you want to talk about it or say something, that is the reason I have posted that link. Please join. Now, how do you get a closure? Some people want to take revenge. Sometimes when breakups happen, they happen because of small misunderstandings, especially in these Mercury retrogrades. And today, that tarot card reading selector crystal that I posted, it said in two of the second and the third that there is a possibility of a breakup. In the first one, it didn't say so, but it was not very happy. But the second crystal and the third crystal, the 22 and 33 that you all had selected, it said that there is a possibility of a breakup because Mercury retrograde is going on and it does create, and the lunar eclipse kind of happened around the Mercury retrograde. It was conjunct with that. Now, you have to understand that if it has happened something like that in your life, then what you need to do is you just need to keep patient. Just let the time go, just let it pass. Don't focus on, I'm not talking about that. Here we are talking about closures in relationships. So, when we talk about that, thank you, Deepa. We'll see. So, you have to understand that you need to have patience and after the Mercury retrograde is over, if you want, you can try and solve the issue. Now, why do relationships break up? The reason they break up is because there is a distance in the understanding between two people. Both of them do not understand each other. Because if they would understand each other, this distance would not come, these misunderstandings would not happen, and the breakup would not happen. On the other hand, sometimes when people think that it is love, it's not always love. It is attraction, it is infatuation, and what you are in love with or what you are infatuated with or attracted to is the fake outer cover, outer personality that you think that that person is. Maybe because you're blinded by love, or maybe because that person has only put their best foot forward. You've not seen their real side. It's when you see the real side, when you start coming closer and spending more time together is when such things happen. And at such a time, so Ritesh thinks differently, and I think differently. According to him, there is a closure needed. According to me, what is needed is just to open your eyes, the mental eyes. They say that always listen to your heart, but take your brain along with it. Wherever you go, please take your brain along with it. Don't leave it behind. And that is a mistake a lot of people do. Normal emotional people like us, the mistake that we do is we do it follow the heart, but we leave the brain behind. And at that time, when a lot of people will be talking and advising and counseling you and telling you that you're only jumping in the well, don't do it, you will say, oh, I love the waters, the water calls me, let me jump. And then one fine day when your eyes will open, you will realize one second. I think Ritesh is here. Hold on. Acha, I already started. There is something wrong with YouTube or StreamYard. Glass. Ha ha ha. Freshen up. So, uh, सो ये होता है, लेकिन जब वो चश्मा उतरता है ना, मुझे हिंदी में बोलना चाहिए क्योंकि फिर बहुत लोग शिकायत करते हैं कि मैं इंग्लिश में बात करती हूँ और हिंदी वालों को समझ में नहीं आता। तो वो जो चश्मा उतरता है ना प्यार का, वैसे कहते हैं कि प्यार की मियाद बहुत छोटी होती है, 1-1.5 साल की होती है। नहीं, आई डोंट थिंक सो। आई थिंक अट्रैक्शन की मियाद बहुत छोटी है। प्यार की मियाद तो जिंदगी भर की होती है। एक बार आपने किसी से प्यार कर लिया तो फिर उसकी सच्चाई दिखने के बाद भी कहीं ना कहीं आपके दिल में उसके लिए प्यार रहेगा। फिर चाहे आपसे उसका रिश्ता रहे ना रहे, दैट रिलेशनशिप एंड अटैचमेंट इज सेकेंडरी। I am not talking about astral projection or draconians and Pleidans, and this live is not about that. So just avoid those questions. There's no point. And ये questions मेरा ध्यान हटा देते हैं। क्या बोल रही थी मैं? I totally forgot. Don't distract me with these questions, yeah. So, attachments I was talking about. That no, it is attachment that can go away. It is relationship that can go away. But true love, if it is true love, for a long time, that true love will blind you. It will not allow you to see the negative, and if you do see the negative, you will be too much in love to keep forgiving. So sometimes that's a mistake we make. Sometimes it's necessary to just quit at the first go, because if you've not done it then it's going to be very difficult in the future. And eventually, there are a lot of times when people break up, they make up. They break up and they make up. Why do they break up if they have to make up? And why do they make up if they have broken up? It's because अब दूसरे को ढूंढो, उसके साथ वो सारी फॉर्मेलिटी शुरू करो पहले से, वो इतना सारा टाइम वेस्ट करो एक दूसरे को जानने का, वो चीज से घबरा के लोग कहते हैं छोड़ो, नॉन डेविल इज अ बेटर डेविल। इधर आजा। So, okay, there's something wrong. It's in spite of the fact that it is on public, it says YouTube doesn't support comments on private videos. So, I'm looking at the comments on this window. बिकॉज ऑफ कंफ्यूजन नो ट्विन फ्लेम्स के बारे में मैं जल्दी करूंगी अभी आज हम ट्विन फ्लेम्स की बात नहीं कर रहे आज हम क्लोजर्स की बात कर रहे हैं ट्रू लव कैन मेक अस ब्लाइंड टू द लव्ड वंस फॉल्स यस टेल मी अबाउट इट ओके yes Ritesh so that is
Are
Ritz
we
and
live?
we are already live
Everything is there.
closure
Okay.
so I was just generally talking about love and ऐसे कर
Waiting.
breakups and love and attraction and the different phases and how because of Rahu Ketu in the next 1.5 years the family is going to go for a toss. It already has. It's just going to be in your face and the relationships how a lot of breakups are going to happen. So that day we were talking about closures.
Yeah.
So you had something to say about closures. Carry on.
We were talking about dead people closures mostly.
Closures,
Right.
the-
Yeah. But it can be anything. Right? It can
Can
be
be
with your
anything.
relationships. It can be with your mother, with your
Anyone,
friend,
absolutely.
or your.
It could be
even,
about
colleague.
people dying also. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people who have died and
Yeah.
you've not had a closure with them.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like family, or sometimes it can even be a colleague,
Yeah.
can keep wondering that did that person love me or what was our relationship or I have some unanswered questions and that person can want a closure that this is what I wanted to tell you but more than that about relationships आज से 50 साल पहले ना किसी ने क्लोजर के बारे में सुना नहीं था
Right.
क्लोजर ये साइकोलॉजिस्ट और इन लोगों ने ना वो दिमाग में डाल दिया कि क्लोजर चाहिए फीलिंग जब आती है ना क्लोजर के हाँ अब क्लोजर हो गया वो अलग चीज होती है कि अब फाइनल हो गया लेकिन पुराने जमाने में कोई क्लोजर वोजर के बारे में बात नहीं करता
In
था
fact, पहले होने भी नहीं देते थे. People used to purposely give you a lifestyle. Once you've lost the partner or anything like that, it was a different ritual altogether. I think
Right.
people used to call people to make them cry.
Exactly.
Rudalis and all that.
वो मर गया उसकी
मरने के
बात
बाद
अलग
they
है
don't want you to come out of it. They want you to dress up in a different way, eat different sort of food, so you can never have a closure
for a while
for a while.
so that जो वो लोग करते थे
हम्म।
यहाँ पे तो खैर हम लोग मरने वाली बात ज्यादा डिटेल में नहीं कर रहे थे
हम्म।
वो जो करते थे कि 13-14 दिन तुम रो लो अपने अंदर का पूरा निकाल लो और उसे क्लोज कर दो सो दैट दे वांटेड यू टू हैव अ प्रॉपर क्लोजर
But they
So-
never came
but-
out of it. They still had a uniform, once, or a certain
Not
type
all.
of things. Most of them.
no not all
And
but no main thing is see after somebody dies तो closure accepted है okay तू दूर बैठा है फिर यहाँ पे
I
बहुत
think
गैप
this
हो जाता
angle
है
saying
come
my
this side
writing is also bad. Is it okay?
what was I saying? I was saying that when somebody dies, then closure does happen. But in abroad, yes, when somebody breaks up, the friends and family understand that that person needs a closure, or that person needs space, or that person needs extra attention or pampering. So at least that's what I've seen in the movies. I don't know in reality what happens. बट इंडिया में तो मतलब ऐसे होता है कि अच्छा तेरा ब्रेकअप हो गया चल ठीक है कोई बात नहीं कोई और सही वहां पे people don't realize that that person can be grieving inside and sometimes your grieving can go on and on for years and years.
Yeah.
You may be perfectly normal in front of people but अंदर से शायद आपका मन टूट रहा है या आप टूट रहे हो और आप अपना दुख एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पा रहे हो because nobody understands how important how the breakup of a love affair or a couple can affect somebody.
That can even go to few lifetimes, not even the whole life. They bring it to another life.
Must a closure involve pain? Not necessarily.
In fact, it should be painless. The concept we have till now, they all, revolved around, needing other people, like crying or, emotion, getting some emotional exit. but it's not necessarily it has to be. First of all, I feel closure is a lot of people like who are practicing law of attraction. For them, it is very important because once you have that, technique of having closure with people, or you're not necessarily with dead people, but also with people around you. And every day you have something which gives you some bad memory, and you put it
Ritza.
inside yourself, and then it manifests into negativity, and then you can't manifest, and it snowballs into a lot of things. So it's not necessary that you need to. I think it should be completely otherwise. Once you have such like this bang happening or some sort of shock happening, you can take 5 minutes to cry. You can take 5 years to cry. That's your decision. But eventually, you will have to come out. Only then you will have a closure,
So how do you
right?
come out?
So
That is the question.
that is first of
That
all
is a very personal thing.
Yeah. So that is, be it anything, be it a colleague, be it your parent or your lover, anybody, any sort of closure, or even sometimes you have a some issue, a grudge with maybe a watchman or whatever, but you have that stored inside. Oh, this is how we behave, and that's stores in your cell, and that creates diseases and all sort of negativity.
But it's always better to forgive and forget.
So that's what is closure about, right? You need, but nobody can, right? Like we keep thinking
It's
about.
not easy.
It's not easy. It's very difficult. So
Especially depending on how close you are with that person,
Yeah.
you have been with that person, how strong your bond has been, or how, even if it's maybe not a strong bond, but
Yeah.
if something has affected you.
But then you have to think of it as you're not doing something to them, you're doing something to yourself.
Yourself.
When you're in that is the only technique to do it, that you're not hurting them, you're hurting yourself. All these negative cells are getting stored in your body, your manifestation getting affected, you having all that problems. So that is the easiest way, that accept that he didn't do it to you, you created that vibe that happened. So once you accept it, if you've done it, then you can also get out of it. So it's the simplest way. The core is like you accept it, that this is self done in a way, because we all have free will.
Okay. Now, what about some people who keep bouncing back?
There's like most of people who keep bouncing back, right? So that's why we were doing this video, to make them understand that this is not for anybody else, this is for yourself. And a lot of people might know about this Dr. Emoto's experiment, that when you keep this different jar of rice, cooked rice, because they have water, and then you abuse one, you love one, and then the third one you keep neutral. So when you see after a week the abused one is rotten, anybody can do that experiment in their house, and just
Oh.
जिसको कुछ नहीं बोला है, that is half rotten, half okay. But the one they have talked love and all these good things, that is completely fresh even after a week.
Wow.
So why is that? Because rice has
Memory.
water, and 70% of our body has water. So we are
And
just
water has memory.
and the cells had all the information stored, and we are putting all these grudges and all these things in our own body. So people should be scared of not having closure. This should be like more important than vaccinations. Yeah, you should. There should be fear about it, because it affects your body, it affects your health, it affects your finances, your future relationships. So we were talking on the phone, and suddenly it came out to be so important that we should discuss about it. Earlier, we had never thought about it being so
नहीं, एक बार
important.
मैंने तेरे को 6 महीने पहले बोला था, तब मैंने आर्यन भैरवी के साथ किया था, प्रफुल्ल नहीं कर पाया और तेरे साथ नहीं हुआ.
अच्छा, मैंने नहीं देखा.
नहीं, मैंने बोला था तुझे. तब हमने इस टॉपिक पे शुरू करना था कि जो लोग कोविड की वजह से lot of people have passed away, so people need closures with them also.
Right.
And जो चले गए हैं उनके साथ आपका क्लोजर कैसे होगा? So वो calling the spirit and talking to them or something. That was another. So that I did with Bhairavi.
Okay,
But
that is
then
a different dimension. But in this dimension also, like most of us need like at least 15-20 closures, I think, in a year, because
But
small, big, they all get stored in a memory.
sometimes I feel like, for example, in these 2 years, people have moved away from each other because of the social distance, not meeting, being homebound, and all of that. And they've grown apart for no reason. There is no negativity in the relationship. But even there, at some point, do you think that even they need a closure? Maybe a good one, or maybe a bad one, or maybe complain,
I
or
feel there's nobody on the planet who doesn't need closure. There are few people I know who never keep grudges. That's very rare. That's like 1:100 ratio. But most of us need closure, and be it with anybody, maybe with your colleague, with your mom, not necessarily dead people, but people around you, they need more closures with you because things keep happening and they're there live. So you think of them more, compared to the people who are departed. So everybody needs a closure, but
So, what is
I
the
think
best
the
way to
technique,
get a
the best
closure?
way is to first of all accept that whatever happened, the person, whatever they did to you, it was partly your fault because we come with a free will, so we have signed up for it. So once you accept that, you can definitely change that because it's your done, it's self done. And once you accept that, okay, if I was in a bad relationship for years, it was also me participating in that relationship. So I was equally
Responsible.
responsible. And once you take that responsibility, 50%, I think your body will have goosebumps, and you have will be relaxed, and then you will know now I want to come out of it or I don't want to come out.
Also, you also need to take responsibility or understand and remember that this was a soul contract with that person. So that person giving you pain is what you asked that person
Right,
to
the free
do.
will thing. You
फ्री
can
विल फ्री विल अपनी जगह है, बट ये सोल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट भी अपनी जगह है. आई मीन,
if at all people, some people might not believe because they're not seen soul contract, but free will, most of the people who I think watch your video might be into that. Like, easiest way to from the core is like accept that this is your done, and once you take the responsibility you can delete it like this. Or else it can take few years or few lifetimes. So many sessions we have seen people bringing those grudges from like 400 years back, 500 years back. So this is never ending. People should be scared of it more than COVID, and they should like do it. One grudge a day. It should be like that. You make a list, like you at least everybody's going to have 10, 15 closure, I'm sure. So you can do it like once, one closure a day, and then you
okay,
see within
how
a
do you
month.
do that closure? You're saying 10, 15 closures a day. Why
No, 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 no. I'm
everybody
saying
should do
make
it?
a list and
Ah.
take it as I'm going to do one closure a day.
Okay, so
So
how do you, when you say I'm going to do one closure a
yeah.
day,
So
according to you, how do
see,
you, how does a
so
person do it?
there
Because
is.
for a closure, you need two people in
Oh,
front
no,
of
no,
you.
no, 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 no,
No,
not
no, no.
necessarily. That's what I'm saying. You take responsibility. You've done that. Let the other person be, where he is.
हाँ.
If you follow this technique, you're never going to get closure, right?
अच्छा.
So this is self done, and this can be self healed. You don't need the other person to be there. It's just that you need to come out of your comfort zone. That is the most difficult thing, because once you have a closure, there's no whining, there's no crying, there's no sympathy. There, you have to be like a fresh, strong person, which is very uncomfortable because
You're not
we all
used to it.
enjoy pain, right?
Why do we enjoy pain? I mean, I've never understood this. Yesterday I was talking to somebody. Parneet is asking, does it mean breaking karmic contracts amicably so as not to create a recurring karma? Yeah, you're right about that. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about ghazals, and generally ghazals are all sad and painful and crying, and I mean, they change your vibration like this into like you may be smiling and happy, and you start listening to a ghazal, and you'll suddenly start remembering your first love or old love or whatever, ex and all, and then you'll start feeling sad. And but people love listening to ghazals. It's like in the olden days, I mean, in my young days, people used to only listen to ghazals.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the old Bollywood songs, 60s, 70s, 80s, all sad, 70s तक at least. And अब जो गाने हैं अरिजीत सिंह, मोहित सूरी, उसका म्यूजिक कुछ भी होने दो, गाना इतना सैड है, उसके लिरिक्स इतने सैड हैं. I mean, that day I went out for a birthday party, and what was this song that was playing? सुन रहा है ना तू, रो रहा हूं मैं. ए प्रभु, मतलब ये गाना गाते रहोगे तुम मन के अंदर तो तुम रोते ही रह जाओगे.
I am the only one on the planet who realizes this, because I still play Raita 90s music, all happiness,
yeah,
all crazy.
exactly.
I went to a party 2 days back, and they were all like young people, like 22, 23, and everybody was drinking. But after drinking, they were just looking for sad songs, and I was like, you're like 22, 23,
हाँ.
and what pain you have? They're like, no pain, this is enjoyment, this is fun. But so I realized, people don't have much to grieve on, and then they take subjects or they take topic, and that's how we have this a one death happening, and then we have millions of people following that and having grudges about that.
Do you realize that whenever you talk to somebody about your pain, they will competitively want to talk about something that happened in their
That
life?
happens a lot.
199.9% of the time, people do that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what happened with me. Oh, really? You know what? This is what happened with me. And then this is what happened with my neighbor. And this is what happened with my far off relative or whatever. Why is there a competition
Because that is
about how much
comfortable.
pain?
That is comfortable, you know.
Why?
Because they feel this is, you know, you get attention when you are in pain, you get sympathy when you are in pain, you know. Not most of people get attention all the time. And I think it starts from a very early age where people, you know, start attracting these things, and then
Where a
psychology-
child cries, and that
Yeah.
is when the parent gives
Give them
them more
attention.
attention. So
Yeah.
they say, okay, crying is good because
Yeah.
that's where I get attention.
Yeah.
That way, whatever I demand is fulfilled.
So I think we all program for it unconsciously.
That's sad.
Right, and then the songs and everything adds up to it, because it's cool to listen to these songs and it's cool in a party. And if I play my type of a song in a party, people might like, what happened? So
Yesterday,
yeah.
okay, so yesterday, some of you who are on the Law of One group are here, right? And yesterday, what happened is I said, okay, every time on Telegram, we are talking about everything serious, aliens,
Are we
New
talking
World
about
Order,
alien?
destruction, of Mother Earth, and transition of Mother Earth, and going into 4D and 5D, and meditation, and everything serious, conspiracy theories, and everything COVID. And yesterday, I thought, बस हो गया यार, everybody needs to be fresh once in a while. थोड़ा हंसो, थोड़ा, you need to that, because that is what will raise your vibration. And there's nothing better than music, happy music. So मैंने अपने ग्रुप में बोला चलो आज अंताक्षरी खेलते हैं. You have no clue, रात के 12 बजे तक सब लोग उधर गाने गा रहे थे. I said no sad songs. उसमें 2-4 बीच में लोग sad songs भी गाए, क्योंकि उनको वो वर्ड पे अंताक्षरी के नाम पे कुछ और मिल नहीं रहा होगा. लेकिन I was like, no, I want only happy songs, and I want you to sing it happily. कि वो आवाज में वो खनक होनी चाहिए, वो मस्ती होनी चाहिए, because only that is how your vibrations you will raise.
Yeah, the music is like a subliminal message. I
Exactly.
think you store these things and then you realize कि ऐसे कैसे हो गया मेरे साथ?
हाँ.
Because you listen to these things all the time, and
All the time.
also, these TV serials, they also have this certain negative vibe. Everything is happening एक के बाद एक. So lot of content.
And the women actually associate with that.
Yeah.
दोपहर को बैठ के लहसुन और मटर छिलते छिलते वो देखेंगी, हाय बेचारा, हाय वो बेचारी के साथ क्या किया, हाय कैसी सास है, कितनी कमीनी बहू है, and all that.
Yeah.
And then they will attract that in their life.
But then, it's about realizing, like you said, you realize that we're talking like that and we need to have a break and freshen
Yeah.
up. But you realize that, but not everybody realizes that, and not
No,
everybody
it's
wants that. Because
very
they want to
important
be in
to
their comfort
realize.
zone, right? That is comfortable.
No, everybody really had fun. They really enjoyed it. And
You have to make people do
you
it.
have, that's the
That's
point.
why you're doing the video
I
for.
literally have to make people do
Yeah.
it. मतलब मैंने कितनी बार अपने टेलीग्राम ग्रुप पे जो ओरिजिनल टेलीग्राम चैनल है उसके ऊपर भी कितनी बार बोला है, okay, today, and I only do this on a Saturday or Sunday. Today, let's have a chill out day. Let's have some fun. Let's have some laughter. कुछ jokes crack करो. चलो, everybody, I want 200 members हैं तो 200 jokes आज होने चाहिए. Nobody bothers. Nobody
Now you
bothers.
ask that, people, do you have any pain in your life? Something that you're sad about?
Oh.
There's going to be like, it will
Saga.
crash. It will crash. See, that's why whenever I do a video, in any topic we take, I just go on self-responsibility, because you need to realize whatever is happening, it's self-done. Until and unless you will not come out of, all this pain and this and that. So whatever topics we've done, I end up with self-done. If you we did, I think, love relationship, we did soulmates, we did a lot of things
Twin flames.
before, right? So anything is happening, first of all, you need to take a responsibility. That's your done, and it's self-done, it's free will.
एक मिनट किसी का अभी ब्रेकअप हुआ है, वो बेचारी रो रही है अपनी जिंदगी पे कि कैसा बॉयफ्रेंड मिला या कैसा हस्बैंड मिला, और तू उसको बोलेगा कि सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन करने बैठ, थप्पड़ मारेगी तेरे
See,
को.
अगर you give them 5 minutes to cry, you give them 1 hour to cry. अगर नहीं हुआ ना, if you're really their friend, you want them to come out of it, then this is what you should tell them. Otherwise, 10 साल भी हो जाते हैं, people keep
दोस्ती
coming
टूट
and
जाएगी, रिश्ते टूट जाएंगे ऐसे करने से.
मेरे नहीं टूटते. I'm very clear about people, like with people around me. I'm very clear. Whenever they call me, they get a reality check, and मैं वो नहीं करता, अरे आजा, come and cry, let's have a drink. So I've never done it with you. Every time something happens, I blame you. Right? You should blame yourself. So, हमारे कुछ टूटे हैं क्या अब तक, right? ऐसा नहीं होता है. They all know this is the truth, but कोई बताने वाला नहीं है. तो it's high time we change the programming. It's high time we change.
लेकिन किसी को mentally prepare कैसे करो that okay, in your relationship you need see, okay, wait. Sometimes you're living with a person.
Yeah.
It could be a husband, it could be a mother, it could be a mother-in-law, it could be anybody. Okay, you're living with a person, but mentally or emotionally, the distance has become so much that you are not even talking to each other anymore. It may be the closest relationship, but emotionally, you are far, far away. In that case, how does a closure help, or is there even a closure?
That's what I'm saying. You don't need another person to have a closure. Why do you forget it if the person is in another country, or never talking to him again, or you're never meeting the person again? It's not about them. You're not giving them a closure. You're giving closure to yourself, right? So the method has to change. There's a lot of information available, but we don't grasp it because we're not ready for that information at that time. अभी भी जो लोग वीडियो देख रहे होंगे,
अरे लेकिन फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैंने मेरी तरफ से क्लोजर कर लिया. अब सामने वाले को वो क्लोजर समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, वो क्लोजर करने नहीं.
What is closure? सामने वाले को क्यों समझ में आना है?
नहीं, I mean to say कि supposing I said okay, fuck it, forgive and forget, and okay, you do whatever the hell you want. I am happy with my life and let me live my life the way I want. That person lives with you or doesn't live with you. That person comes back and again starts behaving in a manner which upsets you. What do you do?
So once
it could be your very close, relative.
Why do you want to have a closure for in the first place? Tell me, what are you going to get out of it?
Maybe the relationship is over long time back, and you need that closure. You need to end everything. But when that person keeps coming, supposing it doesn't even live with you, supposing not even your relative, maybe even a boyfriend, he keeps coming back, keeps knocking on your door,
so if once
in
you
some
had a
manner
closure,
or the other.
Once you had a closure, if the person is still knocking you, that means you're not had a closure, because you're still fragile about it. You're still affected about it. Once you stop getting affected, that is the only time you stamp it that okay, now I have a closure.
अरे पर कोई तेरे मुंह के ऊपर थप्पड़ पे थप्पड़ मारता जाएगा,
तो बार-बार मुंह दिखाना क्यों है उसको?
दिखाने की जरूरत नहीं है. सामने वाला इंसान अगर आ जाता है तो क्या करोगे तुम?
You should not get affected. Don't let the person around you. Then means you are a fool. Then again and again, if you the person has affected you in a way.
You are assuming that in this case there could be any cases. You could be in the same. You could be in the same group of friends.
Yeah.
They could be two friends.
Yeah.
Okay. For example,
I am in the same group of people where one person has affected me very badly, and I have lost ton of things. But I have no grudges. I'm still hanging
it's
out.
You're not.
People break up and they still hang out together.
You're not listening to me.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
supposing
you are in a group of friends.
Yeah.
Okay. On your side, you've taken that closure. You stop talking.
Yeah.
That person doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
But that person you meet next time and again purposely comes and behaves in a manner with you to hurt you. You can ignore it once, twice, thrice. What if that person keeps repeating?
That means the person needs a closure.
हाँ तो वही तो मैं बोल रही हूँ कि कैसे होगा closure?
How do you care if he's not ready to get a closure?
Because that person is directing their hurt at you, and it's affecting.
It should not affect you if you had a closure. You have to be that.
इंसान है, इंसान पत्थर नहीं है. एक बार अफेक्ट नहीं करेगा, दूसरी बार नहीं करेगा, तीसरी बार नहीं करेगा, कभी तो अफेक्ट करेगा.
तो कभी-कभी इतनी बार उस इंसान को शक्ल दिखाने की जरूरत क्या? If the person is being so negative for you, why don't you completely block them out of your life? Why do we want
Okay.
such people?
You're not getting my point.
No,
Okay,
you're
fine.
just being like, I have to be with that person, and that person has to change.
How
He's
can
not
he
going to
be
change.
so cool, dude? होता है ऐसा. Sometimes you have a
See,
a
you're not
group.
completely coming out of a comfort zone because you still want that person to behave in a certain way. You have a closure. You behave in a
So are
certain
you
way.
saying that you are attracting that person's behavior?
Exactly. You stop getting affected. कितना बड़ा भी bully हो, he will stop bullying you once you stop getting affected in front of the person. So
It's
you
not
just
happened with me.
not tried hard enough. What? That should be like something very.
It's
But I have done it.
this
So
is
you
it.
should do it. You can do it too.
This is what I'm telling you. It's not always कोई भी चीज ना पत्थर की लकीर लिखी
I-
हुई
I
नहीं
have- I
होती
have-
कि
I
नहीं
have
ये ऐसा है तो ये ऐसा ही होगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है. हर केस अलग होता है.
Exactly.
और
So
कई
we
बार
cannot generalize a method, but I'm telling you the core. The core is that it's you. You should stop getting affected by other people.
I did
Right.
100 times and
No.
then what?
Then why do you get affected again? You should not get affected. Once you stop acting, the
If
universe.
she is going to enter my house and she's going to sit on my head and she is going to behave in a manner which is not acceptable, or if I am forced for whatever reasons
Yeah.
to be in the same company with
Yeah.
her, and she's directing it at me and insulting me or whatever, at the end of the day I'm human. It is going to affect me. मैं एक बार इग्नोर करूंगी, 2 बार करूंगी, 5 बार करूंगी, 10 बार करूंगी, 11वीं बार तो मुझे अफेक्ट करेगा ना.
Because you don't want to come out of it. That's why this thing keeps happening to you. Listen.
It's not
If
about
the
me.
person is repeating again and again and again, you should just. Anyways, you have to be in the situation. You have no other option. For example, we're supposing that you have no other option. You have to be in the situation no matter what. So why don't you do it with a smile and stop getting affected? The other person is going to go nuts.
So start taking shit with a smile, you're saying.
You anyways taking shit. You have no other option, right? If you start doing that, start practicing that, it might not happen to you after
Okay.
2 to 3
Anybody
times.
else
Break
has
the
some
cycle.
questions? Some relatives do something wrong, can't ignore. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. He is probably emotionally strong, or
I've
maybe
become
he's
strong.
not gone through what we have
Of
gone
course,
through.
I've gone through. I've chose to be like this now because maybe see a lot of people will not be ready for this information right now, but maybe 10 years later you might enjoy this.
I think some people are just meant to come into your life and screw your life up.
They are.
They
But
are
you cannot-
meant for that. They're born for that.
Right. So how do you control those people? You can't control.
You can't control
You have
people.
to-
You can't do anything about
So then
people.
what- then what
the
we
only
do?
thing you can do is your
You
reaction.
save your body, save yourself, save your soul. That's what we have to do. That
Yeah.
is, we're not being strong for them. We're being strong for our own body and our own soul.
So where is the
other-
closure? The closure will never come till that person dies.
Even
till
after,
that
no,
person
it
dies.
even won't come if the person dies.
Exactly. So then what do
Because
you
you've
do?
decided that it's not going to come. So you have to do it right away. You can't wait for the person to die because it's never going to come back. You're
But
gonna take it.
you are saying that the closure is only from your side.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think that the closure cannot happen till it happens from both sides.
That is because you want it very comfortable. You want the other person to change too. You don't have to worry about
change.
them.
No, I'm not even talking about change.
At least start behaving a little differently.
No, I'm
Then
talking
what do you
about
want?
that person not being in your. So there are
Not
times.
being in your life.
There are times when there are certain relationships and certain things where those people don't deserve to be in a part of your life.
Yeah.
And there are certain situations and certain relationships where you can't help but be around that person. That person is not going anywhere
Yeah.
and probably not even dying till you die.
Yeah.
But you're just forced to take that nonsense, and you may have 10,000 closures in your head.
Yeah.
But keep having closures. That's all I've been
What
doing
are
for
you
the
going
last
to
so
do
many.
about it? You can't do anything.
You can't do
about
anything about it.
So you're gonna ruin your life, your soul, yourself.
Closure
No,
kahan hai
right?
phir?
Closure is like this. If you want it, you can take it. You can't be waiting for the whole life. A person has to be changed. Person has to go through this. Everything is very simple, but we make it very difficult by adding all these techniques and methods and this and that. It's not that difficult. Right? So once you decide, once you take the responsibility, stop addressing the other person in this closure thing. Once you stop, let him not die, let him not go anywhere, let him come around you, because you're anyways going to take that shit. Take it with a smile, and then you see it starts changing the person. You do it twice, you do it thrice, but you don't lose it. Because
50 साल की हो गई हूँ क्या मेरे को ट्वाइस थ्राइस की
but
बोल
have
रहा
you
है
done
मैं
it?
50
Have
बार
you ever been not affected?
50
You
बार
have
हो
always
चुका
been
है.
affected. Exactly. I've
Don't
seen you.
assume.
No,
Don't assume. No,
you've
you've
told
not.
me.
You've not
You've
seen
told
me.
me.
No, you've not seen me.
I've heard your stories from you only, right? So you always
You
been
have
affected.
no idea.
I know, but then you have to be strong at the end of the day. Everybody has their own.
But
journey and
everybody
their
is not
problems.
so strong.
So
Supposing
that's why
some
we are
people.
doing this video for
Suppo-
doing to make people realize कि नहीं हो सकता है.
हाँ.
Stop being little.
So how do you be strong? Chalo.
Take charge.
How?
Stop blaming other person. First step, stop blaming other person. My mother did this to me, my brother did this to me, my partner. I made it happen. It was my sole contract. It's not their fault. I made it happen so I can have a closure because it was self done. These people have no power to do it. I made it. This was my wife's.
Step 2.
Step 2, right? Accept it.
Okay.
Step 2, you just sit for 5 minutes. It's on you. You take 5 minutes or you take 50 years. The time is the duration on you. You have to decide that today or maybe 10 years later I'm going to come out of it, or maybe 5 years later. But aisa hota hai, we've seen in the session that people have brought it from like 3-4 lifetimes. They're still not out of it. They're still having it. So aren't you scared of it? Right? So you're not just losing your body, you're losing your part of your soul, you're losing part of your vibe. Everything is getting damaged. So this
Okay.
is very easy, very simple. I don't know why we're making it complicated, and this is not a big deal, but it is also very important. Just like your workout, this should be a very important workout that you do every day, one closure a day. Like I'm
In
not
your
talking
head.
in your head.
In your head.
Yeah, I'm not talking about big closures. Not necessarily. Maybe you finish your big closures in 10-15 days, but you might go out. You might have a riff with a RTO officer or whatever. Immediately
That
you should
kind.
stop being affected. One closure a day.
Okay. Some questions here. When some relatives do something wrong, you can't ignore. We are normal people, still not entered 5D. Is forgive and forget part of closure? It is. What if the other person isn't remorseful?
You don't need the other person. First of all, remove the other person from closure, because it is about you, not the other person. We're not doing a group therapy. It's about you.
They intentionally do this because they know our weakness. Value yourself, don't give away your power to the other. Yeah.
The people are
Easier
agreeing.
said than done.
Right? Everybody wants to come out of it. They just need a direction.
In case of breakup, the other person should also be mature enough and ready for the closure. Otherwise,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
person
yeah,
will
people
just keep
see.
triggering the same emotions. In you.
Exactly. And once you stop acting, the universe starts acting. So stop pushing it so hard.
It is totally fine if it doesn't work, but guilt is a destruction. But it's a divine plan and it's a blessing.
Yes. All these negative vibes that you're putting inside, it's going to lower your frequency only. So if it is work, if it doesn't work, why are you damaging your mind, body, and soul? So you have to have a closure. You cannot do without one, and if you do without one, you're going to take this to another lifetimes. Then you're going to come back to channels like this and want to come out of your pain. So you have to do it. You have to take responsibility. Even you have to do it.
Okay. What else about closures? So, how did you manage your closures?
I think every time something happened, any information I absorb or accept in my life, it comes with some sort of a big bang. Something happens which is very major, which is out of control, and then like it's like learning a lesson. Every time I have a major turbulence in my life, it teaches me something, and I like to take positive out of it. And then this is something happened to me a few years back, and then I just realized that it is only affecting me, it's not affecting the other person. So everything I say or I talk, I've been through that once, upon a time in my life. So be it my readings or be it, all these techniques, and these are all self-tested, and that's why I'm always sure about, like 100% track
You're
record.
sure about it because it's you, because
No,
it's
it's-
your
no.
experience, and because it's the way you handle things.
No, but it's
because
always
that's the way
worked-
you
it's-
made.
It's always worked with people around me. It's always worked with me. So why can't it work with you?
Because we are two different people.
No, but then I'm
And
not.
our
I'm not using
situations are
anything.
different.
No, it's not only about me. There's been a ton of people who have tried this, and have friends and family. It's worked for everybody. It's worked for people who have done it.
Closures.
Closures, like coming out of it.
Hmm.
So I had people, previously they were into breakups, like, crying in sad songs, and I have seen people hanging out with their exes and they're all happy about it. Isn't that a better situation?
Hmm.
Rather than that. So one person
Hanging out with their exes
Yeah.
after the breakup.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. How can you hang
Because,
out with
you know,
your
you're
ex
actually-
after a breakup and still not
That's
have
why
feelings?
that's what you have to stop being affected.
Hmm.
That is the core of everything. You talk about closures, law of attraction, you talk about anything, any sort of manifestation, you have to stop being affected. That is the core. Nothing else is going to work out. I can challenge you until you start, unless you stop being affected.
Hmm. Everybody is made differently.
Of course.
Closure is about making peace painful, but it is cathartic to let go of toxic people. Yes, it is.
Yeah. and then
Definitely.
It is very uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. There's something has to hit you hard for you to even want that closure, for that closure to happen. If it is going to be the same scenario over and over and over again, that closure is never going to come.
It's never going to come. Even in like 5 lifetimes, it will not come.
No, it will not come. There has to be that one moment of either revelation or some episode that happens, or for you to realize or realization that where, to open your eyes, basically your mental eyes.
It's that one moment of realization. That's all you need. That's it. It's
But
as
then you
simple
need
as
to
that.
hold on to that. You need to hold on to that and not fall emotionally weak.
Of course. So any method has to be completed. If you leave it in between, there's no
टाइम
point of doing
लगता
it.
है. रियलाइजेशन होने के बाद हर इंसान रितेश नहीं होता.
See,
इंसान है, दिल है. तेरे तो दिल में कुछ है नहीं.
See, you can take 5 minutes, you can take 5 years, you can take 50 years. You
No.
can talk from your own experience.
No,
It
no,
is
no.
never going to come.
No. What I'm trying to say is, it may take a few hours, a few
Few days
days.
is also okay. But you know what? That's what
But no, what I'm saying is, you need to keep reminding yourself that.
That's why you give yourself a time.
Yeah.
Whenever something happens, that's why I say it's a 5-minute technique. You decide which 5. You want to take 5 minutes, you want to take 5 days, you want to take 5 weeks. But the moment you give that time to yourself, and the moment that gets over, done. You have to remove like a peel, like a skin coming. You're never going to behave like that. You're
I
never gonna cry about that.
feel, closure, nothing can be forced.
It shouldn't be forced.
Nothing can be
No,
forced.
it's self-realization. If you're ready for it, only then you're going to get it.
Okay, I'll tell you something. So, before I got married, when I was about 18, there was this classmate, and I used to like him, he used to like me, whatever. And things, we became friends and all, and things became, escalated, and I met his family and everything. Marriage was not possible. But certain things happened, certain episodes happened, and he became very anti me. Like, मतलब मैंने उसकी बजा दी, प्रॉपर बाट लगा दी उसकी. तो अब उसकी फ्रस्ट्रेशन निकालनी थी, क्या करेगा? तो उसने मुझे थोड़ा परेशान करना शुरू किया. Anyway, then I said, fuck it, end of story. And I think 6 months later or a year later, something, I got married. And I forgot that episode, out of my head, gone. गुस्सा आता था, कभी ख्याल आए तो कि there was this one horrible person that I met in my life, and what did I even like about that person? Today, I mean, after a few years, it's like, what did I even like about that person? Family was very sweet. His mother was a gem. His sister was amazing. His dad was very nice. After 28 and a half years, 28 and a half years, I'm married, I have 2 children, I've totally forgotten about that person. And I get an email. And the moment I read the email, there is no signature, no initial, and I know it's him. And we exchange a few emails. He agrees and that it is him. He is like, how did you even know that it is me? And then he says, I am sorry, I did this. I carried that guilt with me for so many years. And तेरी बदुआ मुझे लगी और मेरे साथ ये हुआ वो हुआ ऐसा वैसा everything. And he told me that, okay, now I'm married, I have 3 children, settled in Dubai, all that, blah, blah. Somehow, his email telling me that he is sorry for what he did. I'll tell you later what he did. That is what gave me a closure.
Yeah, but then
After that, like
even he needed one, like in this case,
maybe,
right? Because 28 years, he's still
28
holding
and a
on.
half years.
So he's still holding on all those things and still remembering.
Guilt, yeah.
Right? So that's why you need those closures. It's not badua, it's his own, guilt that is putting him down, because he never did it earlier. He should have done it 28 years back.
He should have. I mean, yeah, what he...
Right. He should have done it. So,
yeah.
Like one example, like, if you keep delaying it, it will never come to it.
So, but I was shocked that he literally looked me up. मेरा नाम तो वही था, but सरनेम बदल गया था. उसको मैं कहाँ से मिली, उसने मेरा ईमेल ढूंढा, उसने मुझे मैसेज किया. कहने का मतलब ये है कि ठीक है, मुझे तो he told me, I want to meet you, let's meet up for coffee, I'll come down to Bombay and I want to sort this. I said, भैया एक बार जो तूने मिल के कर लिया ना वो बहुत था, उसके बाद मुझे दोबारा नहीं मिलना है. मुझे मेरा क्लोजर मिल गया, तसल्ली मिली कि उसे रियलाइज हुआ, पर हर एक को ये तसल्ली नहीं मिलती. What I mean to say here is that sometimes we need to give ourselves closure with things that we may have done badly with other people also.
Yeah, that is another side to it.
Very important.
Which is very important.
Very, very important. वो कहीं भी हो, you need that closure. And many years back, I think 15 years back, if I don't know if you remember me telling you that there was this guy that I was in love with when I was in school, 13 years. And he had gotten married and then he died. And he used to come in my dreams. I did an auto writing just to give closure to that. I myself did that. I did that auto writing after he died. And I sorted that issue. And after that, he's not come in my dreams. So that closure was also important. And I needed it. Although मुझे तो कुछ था नहीं, ठीक है, तूने शादी कर ली, मैंने शादी कर ली, किस्सा खत्म हो गया. लेकिन maybe he had something to say, which he did. So इस तरह से
See, you were lucky enough for this. Your Dubai friend was lucky enough to find you and locate you and then do it like that. But बहुत लोग after they die, the soul keeps searching for and then you have to wait for the other person to reincarnate, and then you get into that cycle and it is never ending.
हाँ, लेकिन अगर closure चाहिए, for example, somebody who you are not in touch with, okay, I am lucky कि मेरे बचपन से लेके अब तक जितने लोग हैं, I am still in touch with everyone. There was this friend of mine in college, ये जो banda tha, this boy with whom I was in the same class. In that class, there was a girl. I really used to miss her. And she looked me up on Facebook somehow. She found me and she got in touch with me and we met. But that closure was not a bad closure. There's no closure. We still have each other's numbers. We are on Instagram and Facebook. But that good thing feeling that, okay, I thought of you for so many years. We met, I went to Belgaum, I met her. And after that, she came home once. After that, we've not really been in touch, although we are there on each other's social media. But एक वो भी closure हुआ. So closure can be good, it can be bad also. But it can also be good.
It's just that you need to be in a frequency with the person where the person no longer affects you in any way. The person is around you, but then you have to stop being affected. So you just need to tune into that frequency. You do it with tons of therapies or whatever sessions, or you do it by yourself. That is depends.
So when somebody is not in touch with you for years and you have not had that closure, मन के अंदर वो कुछ गुस्सा है या बदले की भावना है या guilt है, कुछ भी है, कॉर्ड कटिंग से और एस्ट्रल लेवल पे करके भी तो क्लोजर हो सकता है ना.
There's ton of techniques which you want to do. The core is that what I feel is self acceptance that this is my done and I can only do it. So खुद से कर लो, कोई थेरेपी से जाके कर लो, auto
But
writing से कर लो.
everybody is not emotionally that strong,
But
Ritesh.
then that's what the information that we are giving. You don't take it as being strong. You take it as a technique. You know, like you apply a lot of techniques in your different therapies. You take it as a technique. You know, it doesn't has to be. You don't have to be like too strong about it. But think of it as a method, like you know, a 3-to-1 technique.
Okay, so sometimes this is a very important question. Sometimes people feel, बोलते भी हैं लोग आमतौर पे, फिल्म्स में भी दिखाते हैं कि once you find somebody else who loves you similarly, or you know you can have an affair with or whatever, you will forget your ex and the closure will happen. Does it really happen like that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Who said that?
Lot of people say that.
Okay.
एक और अफेयर कर ले, भूल जाएगी उसको, कोई और ढूंढ ले, बहुत लोग बोलते हैं.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Maybe those
A
are
lot
the
of
peop-
men do that.
Those are the people on the other side.
In fact, a lot of men do that, have affairs one after the other.
Maybe because most of them are emotionally not open. They are programmed to be emotionally blocked, so they don't get into it that deeply as women. Because you know the like programming in our like 80s and 90s were very different with men. You know, you have to be strong, you have to be like that, you have to stop being emotional. So I don't think they went through that because they were very much guarded, and that has also affected them very badly. I see, you know, the life types in people in 70s and 90s, their looks. You know, they most of them have lost hair. Most of them is, you know, working 24 hours a day. They don't have that concept of, you know, free will or, you know, good life. They were mostly into, you know,
People
being
have
strong and
forgotten
being this
about-
and being that, and you know, so there's a ton of knowledge which was in the history, and that is slowly coming back. People are again getting back to free will, work from home, forgive and forget, and starting being emotional.
What are your thoughts on? So I'm only asking this because this is what I've seen in the films, I've seen online, I've read about it. There are people who talk about closure sex, having sex with your ex as a closure.
That is funny.
But that's, yeah, I mean,
No,
look for it. It's there everywhere.
I heard like they have a sex with somebody else once they have a breakup because they call it like, you know, move on sex or
No, I'm not talking about move on sex.
how
I'm
can
talking
you
about
have a-
closure
how-
sex.
Then what is that? I've never heard of that term before.
You've never heard?
No.
Oh, I see it all the time. I've seen it on Instagram. I've seen it.
So you do it with your ex.
That's what they say. I'm not doing it, but that's what they say.
Okay. It's a good thing. That means they already have a closure if they can be strong enough and
How
go and
can
do
you
it.
bloody even do it with your ex if you are having a closure with that person?
That's something very stupid, but I heard it for the first time. But to
No, I've seen it in movies. So
to
many movies.
give
I've
it a
seen.
valid explanation, I can only think of, like, you know, they have come out of it and it is not affecting them, and they're going and showing it. You know, it's not going to affect me anymore.
Ah.
Maybe it's that, you know, if you want to put
Sure.
it intelligently. Otherwise, there's no
I
intelligent
thought you must have
explanation to
heard
it.
about it
I've
because
never
I
heard
have
about it.
heard about it. I've
No.
heard, I've
No,
seen
if
it.
only maybe those some crazy powerful people who, like, you know, bring
No,
it on.
no,
They're not
I've
going to affect me
seen
anymore.
it a lot in the movies also. So there is, one is closure sex and one is move on sex.
More on sex, I know everybody does it, but closure
That's
sex,
what I meant when I said having another affair. That's exactly what I meant.
that's what people do because they
Oh,
don't
is
want to
it?
get into emotional, you know, that they don't want to go through all that, and not everybody wants to, you know, feel that frequency. Not everybody is ready, especially men from 90s and 80s.
They're
never
not ready
it.
for love.
They're not ready for love, and the life is so sad. I feel bad for them, but
Life is sad.
it is sad for them. It's very boring. It's very colorless. And now, if you see now, a lot of young people, they know about these things. You know, they know emotions and they know coming out of it very easily. And you know, that's why we have this creative things like move on sex and what you said, closure sex. Right. So it is, why not? You know, it is better than sitting in a corner and smoking and, you know, ruining your life and listening to sad songs. It's better than that.
रितेश, अगर क्लोजर नहीं हुआ तो क्या नेक्स्ट लाइफ में ये सब कंटिन्यू रहेगा?
It's your decision. अगर आप उसको लेके जाते हो, and if you You know, like you have a free will. You have to decide. Next life में भी आपको ही पूछा जाएगा कि do you want to continue it?
बस हो गया रे
See, I
एक
am
ही
not
लाइफ
going to.
में.
I am not going to, come here and talk about sympathy and people are gonna come and cry. That's not what I do.
एक लाइफ में एक इंसान का दर्द बस नहीं हो गया, उसको नेक्स्ट लाइफ में काय को लेके जाना है.
I'll tell you a very famous dialogue. दुनिया में कितना गम है और तुम्हारा कितना कम है. ठीक है, so look around. There's people having 100 times more problem than you, and they're still coming out of it.
You know, the problem is now that now, I'm sorry to say this, but now, when people talk about love, sex, I don't have this, I don't have that.
Yeah.
I'm like, दुनिया में कितनी प्रॉब्लम्स चल रही है, पैंडेमिक चल रहा है, असेंशन चल रहा है, तुमको लव की पड़ी है. मेरे को कई बार मेरा नंबर तो हर जगह है.
Mostly, with free people who have more time, they will have more fights, they will have more issues. People with lesser time, who have more responsibilities, you'll see them having lesser issues because they're more focused on one thing. Maybe working or maybe doing something productive in their life. But people who have some sort of time, you will find them more on, channels and coming in for therapies, and, they want, because they're free. And
खाली बैठे हैं, सही बोल रहा है तू. खाली
so
बैठे हैं
problems
और
बढ़ते
कुछ
हैं.
काम नहीं
Like, I
है.
have friends who are like millionaires. They have everything. They still end up fighting every day with their parents, with their husbands. Why? Because they have nothing else to do. They keep creating problems. They have everything: the family, health, wealth.
I have to keep turning back. Can you shift here, please? Okay. और इधर घूम जा. Turn around like this.
Like how? Here.
Like this. Yes.
Okay.
हाँ.
So most of the problems I've seen has happened like anytime somebody comes to me for a reading and they have some emotional problem happening, it's mostly because it is self-created. So it comes out of ego or out of competition or whatever. Basically, it is like I think low up, not upbringing but low programming.
अच्छा, ये तो हुआ वो लोग जो तुम्हारी जिंदगी में ऑलरेडी हैं, तुम्हारी जिंदगी की मतलब बुरी हालत करके रखी हुई है, उनके साथ तुम इवेंचुअली क्लोजर लेते हो. पर ऑब्वियसली हर एक की जिंदगी में आज नहीं है तो कल कोई ना कोई तो आने ही वाला है, क्योंकि वो
आने वाला है.
जिंदगी में बजाने के लिए कोई ना कोई तो चाहिए.
क्योंकि बजवानी है ना, you have written it in your soul contract, then मुझे बजवानी ही every time.
तो what I mean to say is प्रिकॉशन के लिए पहले से कुछ हिप्नोथेरेपी में क्लियरिंग हो सकती है.
Of course,
करनी चाहिए.
Of course, करनी चाहिए.
So how do you know that who is going to come into it? So supposing somebody else is, for example, hypothetically speaking, somebody else is going to come into your life, and he is going to, she is going to, or he is going to bajao your life. So how would you make sure that that doesn't happen and clear all that karmic? It could be a past life story.
How can you stop what you have already signed up for? You cannot do that. If she's going to come and affect me in a certain way, all I can do is be strong and be prepared for it.
How do you know she is the one? How do you know this person is not a karmic story?
See,
How do you know?
I know, but I don't know how everybody knows, right?
No.
So, how do one knows? You can never know.
That's exactly.
It's very simple. You can never know because if you know, you're not going to go through that cycle, right? So that is never going to happen. Forget it. So इसके लिए कोई टेक्निक भी नहीं है और ऐसी कोई टेक्निक हो भी नहीं सकते because once you
क्यों हिप्नोथेरेपी में पास्ट लाइफ में जा सकते तो फ्यूचर लाइफ में भी तो जा सकते.
नहीं जा सकते.
नहीं जा सकते. There is.
No, but then
there is a technique. There are people who
you can go in different time zones. You can ask them questions, but you cannot make a person behave the way you want them to behave.
No, not behave the way you want them to behave. For example,
everyone's dating somebody and suddenly she's being a bitch, and she was nice earlier. Then that means what? If she was a different person earlier, and then because I have changed, the vibes have changed. Lot of people. Yes, it is my responsibility, not the other person. Because once I give her the responsibility, it will keep repeating. वापस मेरे साथ ऐसा होगा, वापस मेरे साथ. Because somebody else has the power. I don't have it to stop it. So I had done something. My vibes have gone something in a lower frequency, which the way the person is behaving, it is partly my fault. Even if I didn't knew it, it is partly my fault because everything is
Subconsciously.
frequency, right? That you believe, right? Everything is frequency. Whatever we do, we attract, negative, positive, we do that. So why not in closures? Why not in relationships? Why not the other person being a bitch? So it is me who done it. And once you get to this core, might 50% people might not even acknowledge this, but they will do it once they're ready for the information. So all sort of information are there. Now you're asking कि हमको कैसे पता चलेगा future में, तो वो भी information है. It's just that we are not ready, so we don't have access to it. हिप्नोथेरेपी में हम नहीं कर सकते ये चीज जाके कि हम पता करें कि कौन हमारे लिए डैमेज कर सकता है और इससे दूर रहे. Right now we're not ready for that information because we all want pain. We all emotional masochists. We all want pain. We all want suffering. So once you start practicing, you will automatically know that the person is not the right person. But then that is only happening when you are strong enough and you stop saying सब लोग ऐसे strong नहीं होते हैं, सब लोग ऐसे नहीं होते. We all made from same atoms. So if I can do it, you can do it too. I am not different, wings or anything. We all made from same material, coming from earth, right? They have the same soul, coming from the same light, going back to the same light. It's just the frequency is different. So tune into that frequency. It's not that difficult. But
So how do you tune into a frequency where you attract those kinds of people in your life that do not give you pain? Let's go to that.
big step is you have to break the cycle. How do you do that?
How do you do that?
Coming back to the same answer. Stop being affected. Not just to show that person, internally stop being affected. That is the most difficult thing to do. But once you master that, you can just think of a thing and it will appear. Like craziest thing will happen to you. Miracle manifestation. So that is the core of everything. Once you tune into a frequency which is, on a very higher side,
The
relationships.
lower frequencies will stop affecting you.
Yeah, and the affection creates lower frequency. It's like a cycle, कि जितना हम pedal कर रहे हैं, हम आगे जा रहे हैं, we are creating the fuel, like those
Does this also include attachments?
attachments. But it's not that you don't have to have attachments, but then there should be boundaries. The person is not affecting you because it's about your soul.
Okay, so anybody has anything else to ask or say? Otherwise, we will close it. कौन है? नहीं. Call. Okay. Do you have any other questions? Okay. फिलहाल संपर्क में बहुत से चैनल हैं, लेकिन असमर्थता के किसी की भी सदस्यता नहीं ली जा सकती है. बाद में देखा जाएगा. I don't know what that was. What the hell sort of discussion is being done here? Are humans missing a brain or heart or both that they have to ask a random? Excuse me.
Warriors of truth.
What is this kind of language that you use for a guest that I have on my show? I don't need to even read such comments. Okay,
Yeah.
so fine. Thank you so much, Ritesh. And if you don't agree with that, Warriors of Truth, you cannot see this show.
At least come with a real face or something. Right?
वो नहीं करते लोग.
Boys never come with the real
अपना
face.
नाम अपनी शक्ल छुपाते हैं और फालतू बोलते हैं. ठीक है.
Maybe you need a closure too.
Yeah, maybe he needs a closure. There is some frustration boiled up inside. I'm seeing a lot of people nowadays who have a lot of frustration inside them.
Yeah, I think it's because too much time that you said like earlier. It's people are very much free and they're bringing up all the emotions and thinking about. When you have too much time to think too much.
नहीं वो भी नहीं. अभी ये जो 2 साल से कोविड का हुआ है, फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही हैं, महंगाई बढ़ रही है, everything put together. I mean, I'm sure everybody is having relationship issues also. I'm hearing about it a lot. Anyways, 2 years they were having it because they were stuck in the same house. Now they are having it because now they're all free. And just before you came, I was talking about it. In aping the West, the Indians have gone far ahead and started having all these open marriages and open relationships and multiple marriages and divorce and this and that, and all that tolerance level that used to be there is gone down. So फ्रस्ट्रेशन तो बढ़ ही रही है, लोगों में ब्रेकअप्स भी हो रहे हैं. राहु केतु आए हैं तो वो भी अपना कमाल कुछ तो दिखाएंगे. So that is why this closure thing was also important, because Rahu Ketu has just come into Aries and Libra in April, and it's going to be there for 1.5 years, and it's going to actually screw a lot of things up for a lot of people. अभी देखना दिवाली में क्या होगा. दिवाली में when sun and moon both are in Aries and Libra around November or December. I think it will be November. Rahu Ketu are already there. And that is the so अभी जो इक्लिप्स होकर गया है लूनर एंड सोलर, उसका पार्ट 2 वो होगा. So the story that will begin then will culminate then.
What is it going to do?
And the new story is going to begin. It's going to basically just mess up relationships. That's what it has already started doing, and that is what it's going to do even further. And after Diwali, it's going to be even worse, because right now Saturn is in its own house and it's straight. But during the Diwali time, Saturn is going to be in reverse, and it is going to come back to Capricorn. So it's going to be actually even worse, because it's going to also affect the finances a lot.
Okay.
So anyway, ठीक है. Bye everyone. I was planning to do a tarot live in the evening. If I can, I will do it. But definitely not if I'm going to have these kinds of comments here. I will not entertain this nonsense. Bye.